Hi everybody, welcome back to another video. Now today I'm not in the palatial surroundings of the caravan or the storage centre. Instead I'm sat here at home waiting for delivery. Today's subject is winterising the caravan. For many it's a time of year that they put the caravan away until the spring of next year, and there's a couple of steps that you need to do to make sure that the caravan is put to bed properly. And so today's video I'm going to be going through some of those steps. Now in the description below this video there are links to some videos and some other subjects that I cover off in this video as well. They're all going to be quite important, so feel free to have a look at those as and when we discuss each one of those points. So going through the caravan, there's a number of things we need to do, and we're going to start off with cleaning the caravan. So step one, cleaning the caravan. It's very simple. We need to clean everything outside and inside. So what we do is start on the outside, and we're going to start by cleaning the roof. Cleaning the roof brings out all of the dirt and the grime off the roof and down to the sides. So again, we need to clean the sides and make sure the whole caravan is spotlessly clean. Now a top tip, buy yourself a pack of paintbrushes from the DIY store. Get yourself a 2-inch brush out of that pack and use that to really get into all the nooks and crannies in between the joins of your panels and around the awning rails, and indeed the gutters as well. Make sure you pull off as much green or as much mould or as much black as you possibly can. Make sure the caravan is spotless. Then, once it's spotless, what we can do is use some products that are designed for winterising the caravan. Fenwicks produce a winterisation solution which you just use in your wash and you spray over the caravan. It produces a barrier that hides and dispels moisture from the surface of your caravan. Then in the spring all you need to do is just wash it off. Now what we do is we use a good car wax. We go over the entire caravan and we wax the entire surface. That very small barrier is enough to dispel any moisture and helps the water run off from the caravan. So once we've cleaned the outside, we need to nip inside and clean all the cupboards. So what we're going to do is we're going to wipe down the cupboard doors, wipe down the cupboard interiors, and vacuum out any crumbs or any muck which may be inside. Remember to take out any food items as well, so half-eaten packets of cornflakes for instance, remove those. We generally leave tinned items in the caravan because, well, they're never going to release any odours or go off. So we've got an emergency tin of baked beans and an emergency can of soup, etc. We leave those in the caravan, but everything else, make sure you remove it. And if you've got salt and pepper, make sure you take those out as well. The salt will attract moisture and they'll become useless when you come to reuse the caravan. Once we've done that, we need to now move on to vacuuming. And we start again from about waist height and we vacuum everything going down. So the sides around the front of the caravan, behind the sofas, under the sofas, in the cupboards, in the lockers, places you may not usually be vacuuming. You want to get into the corners and pull everything out to try and get in and remove as much dust and as much hair and as much whatever gets dragged into the caravan, as much of that as you possibly can. Okay, step 2, the water system. It's probably the biggest thing that people get worried about when winterising their caravan. The fear of frost damage and the fear of anything to do with the water going off. And you know what, it is a real problem because if you leave any water in your pipes or your tanks, there is a very real danger of frost damage, damaging your pipes and your joints. When we say frost damage, what actually happens is the water inside your pipes expands, it weakens the joints, and in some cases can split the pipes. So what can we do to resolve this? Well, there is a couple of things that we can do to reduce the risk of frost damage. There are pieces of kit available on the market which you can plug into the side of the caravan and allows you to blow air through the pipes, forcing out any last residue of moisture from inside the pipes. It is surprising how much water still can be retained inside your pipework. The second thing we can do is open up all the taps, open up all the drain down flaps, etc. Make sure all of those are wide open. That allows any residual liquid inside the pipes to expand freely and not pressurize the system. What we do is we ensure that whenever we leave site, all our taps are left open anyway and are drained down flaps are left open so that all our hot water and all the cold water, our toilet tanks, etc., everything is drained down before we leave site. Then the simple act of us travelling home and that rocking motion does dispill quite a bit of liquid, but it won't remove everything. So it is a good idea to buy those pieces of equipment which plug in and allows you to remove even more out of the system. Okay, step 3, gas. Well, that's really straightforward. All we need to do is just disconnect and make sure that everything is switched off and isolated. If your regulator is attached to the Caravan, you'll usually find an isolation switch right beneath it. If not, there'll be isolation switches inside the Caravan. Okay, so step 4, the electrics. Now usually you shouldn't be fiddling around with the electrics, it's usually self-maintained and you don't need to worry about it too much. But there is one important element inside the Caravan which does need some special considerations, and that is the leisure battery. You can't just put a leisure battery into a Caravan and forget about it. It does need some care and attention to ensure that it's going to work first time when we go out in the spring. So we've got a number of options. What we can do with the battery. We can either remove the battery completely from the Caravan, we can connect a trickle charger to it somehow, we can connect the electric hookup to the Caravan and use the inbuilt charger, or we can use something like a solar panel to supply a constant charge to the battery. Now we are situated on a storage site, and the terms and conditions of our Caravan insurance state that we need to have the alarm and the tracker permanently enabled. So what that really means for us is we can't remove the battery. We cannot connect it to electric hookup because we're on a storage site, and we don't have access to a inbuilt battery charger. So instead what we use is our solar panel, and I've again done a video on our solar setup in our Caravan. Have a look at that in the description below. What that does is supplies a constant charge whenever there's daylight to the battery, and it makes sure that the battery is fully topped up. Now when I go and visit the Caravan, I always make sure that the electrics are okay, and I do check to make sure that the battery is up to charge. Failure to do that, if you just leave it in there, the battery will discharge, and by the new year it'll be completely useless. So make sure you maintain some charge in it. If you are able to remove the battery, take it home, keep it warm, and occasionally attach a charger to it as well, and that will keep it in really good condition. Okay, so step 5, we need to look at the brakes and the tyres. Now to make sure that the brakes don't stick on, what we can do is we can chock the tyres and release the handbrake. And the other thing is, if the Caravan's going to be left idle for some time, it's worthwhile every few weeks to move the Caravan backwards and forwards. Try and get the tyres to land in a different position. It could be that what we need to do is jack the Caravan up and physically move the tyre around, or if you have got enough space, we can move the Caravan forward. If we were to leave it stood for any period of time, I would jack my Caravan up and physically move the tyre around, because we just can't move it backwards and forwards on the storage site. So step 6, we need to go back inside the Caravan and make a mess. So open up all the cupboards, open up all the drawers, make sure the cooker's open, the grill's open, the space beneath the cooker, every single thing needs to be opened. And all the cushions and all the paddings and every piece of furniture is pulled in from the outside of the Caravan. If you can, take everything out from the Caravan and take it home. If, like us, you cannot because you just don't have the space, the best thing you can do is pull everything into the centre of the van. Now finally, there is an argument pro and con for these things, and that's dehumidifiers. Some people say not to bother, not to worry about them, because the Caravan is designed to have moisture naturally aerated around the thing, and that's true, it is. There are gas escape holes in the floor of every Caravan, so be mindful of that. We don't put any dehumidifiers right next to those things because it's just completely pointless. It would just drag in moisture through the outside. Instead, put them around areas which usually would attract moisture. So we have them in the bathroom, for instance, we have them in the cupboards at the tops. You know, we have them dotted around the Caravan just to remove any last moisture from the van itself. We also just put in a couple of air fresheners as well. Nothing overly smelly. I think we just used some Neutrogena ones just to remove any odours out of the caravan. And we used 2 of those, one at the front and one at the back, just to keep the air smelling fragrant. Now finally, the last step is the toilet, and it's very simple what we need to do here. We need to make sure that the flush is completely drained. If you're using pink solution in your flush, there's good reasons for that. Again, there's a video down below for you to look at. We also need to remove the tank as well and clean inside the cavity around where the cassette would go, and also clean inside the cassette thoroughly as well. Again, there's chemicals available on the market which remove that calcium buildup that you can sometimes get, and also allows you to refreshen the tank as well. The other thing we need to do is just rub some lubricant around the seal on the toilet. So either buy the proper seal lubricant that you can get, or just use some olive oil on the rubber ring as well. That just makes sure that this slider closes and opens perfectly every time. Once it's back inside the caravan, we need to make sure that the cassette is left open. Again, we're not trapping any moisture, and we're not going to trap any bad odours inside the cassette. Then just rub down the toilet with a good cleaner as per usual. Again, if you need to, you can use a brush just to clean around the back of the toilet where it's a little bit dusty, and again vacuum out as per normal. Once that's done, it's good to go. And there we go guys, that's it from the winterization video. We've covered pretty much all the steps that you need to go through with everything. I've created another video way back earlier this year which goes through everything that I check when I pop up to the caravan, and I make sure that everything is in order. Now you may have noticed I haven't discussed covering your caravan for the winter. There are pros and cons to covering your caravan. For us, it would stop us using the caravan. We tend to go away with it at least once a month. And the other thing is, if I was to cover the caravan, it would block the solar panel, which basically means we wouldn't be getting any charge into our battery. So for us, for those reasons, we don't bother covering the caravan. So if you've got any comments, you've got any tips yourself that you think should be included in this video, put them in the comments below, and it'd be good to see what you guys do over the winter months as well. So until the next one, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll be back at the caravan soon. Speak to you soon. Take care now. Bye.